The May 5th, 2025 meeting of the Town of Marion's Council shall now come to order. I'd like to begin with the invocation given by Chief Donovan. Please join me in prayer. Most holy and glorious Lord God, Father, as we come before you this evening, Lord, we're first and foremost thankful for the protection that we have in your Son, Jesus Christ. Lord, we ask that you would watch over all of us who live in this community, that you would make us better men and women, and husbands and wives, and sons and daughters. And Lord, we'd ask you to watch over the proceedings that we have this evening, that everything would tend to the common good and to your glory. Lord, we'd ask you to watch over all of our public servants, our school teachers, the nurses, the sanitation workers, the firefighters, police officers, all those who devote their time and talent to this community. And Lord, we'd ask you to watch over our citizens that we're going to say in Christ's name.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone. Welcome to all citizens. Welcome to council, all of our staff and administrators. We will now go to the roll call. And I see that all council members are present. So we will continue from there. I need a approval of the minutes.
I'll
second that. Motion and second. Any discussion? Then we'll vote. All in favor? It's unanimous. We need an approval of the agenda. So moved. Second.
I have a question. Do you want to add anything to the agenda or should it?
I think we're good. Yeah, I think we've got what we need.
Okay, thank
Okay, any more discussion? Then we'll vote on the agenda. All in favor? Unanimous. We have no public hearings scheduled. We have no public presentation scheduled, so we'll move right along to public comment time. And we will take the list in order. And please try to remain silent while the speaker is addressing council. The first person that we have is Mr. Bill Snap. Bill, if you approach the podium, give us your name, address, and tell us what's on your mind.
Bill Sanders, 59 Spruce. So I seen this new ordinance about the trash, all that, and about how it's going to, we could be charged for it, and how it's going to be a class 4 or misdemeanor, or how it could be considered a class 4 misdemeanor. I didn't know y'all had the power to put charges on people like that. And instead of worrying about the trash, why don't you worry about the roads up there that needs to be fixed? Spruce hasn't had a new paving job in years. There's patches everywhere Spruce is falling, maybe. Only when y'all been out rats in the puddle, maybe y'all should check out those roads. And another thing is, Hunter, you and I had a conversation, many conversations, and you said that you want to be for the people. I haven't seen you do anything for the people. I've seen you do for them, but not for the people. You can sit up there and smile when you want to. I'll call you out publicly. It's my time. I haven't seen you do nothing. I've seen you vote against everything and make it harder on people. And it's all about money. We start out with prayer. It's always a prayer. What did Jesus say? Love your neighbor as yourself. How can y'all love us if you don't love yourself enough? Just stop raising taxes on us. Stop charging us money for stuff that we don't need. And if you want a new trash can ordinance, get the trash cans. That's the way it was supposed to be in the old time. Y'all were supposed to provide trash cans. I've been going by 10 new trash cans because y'all's employees bust out the sides, throw them down, bust them, and everything else. I can keep 4 trash cans. Why can't y'all afford them? And my next thing is, if y'all do start, charging all these fees and fines and all that. Where the money goes? Who gets it? That's all I got.
Thank you. We'll take your comments into consideration. At this time, does the council have any response?
I would like to respond and asking what I have not voted for the people. I would like to know that directly. If
They
that,
voted on this new stuff to where now, if we don't do y'all's way about trash, we can get fined. You a lien reader or grin leader.
I can't allow a conversation here. I can only allow your response, and I'm sorry, Billy, but
I'm good.
are you okay?
I'm good.
I just wanted to give you the moment to respond, but we won't have dialogue back.
Could I just say something?
Of course.
As I understand it, and Todd, correct me if I'm wrong, but those charges have been in effect since 2017.
That original ordinance was changed in, I think it was April 2017.
so all those charges have been in play.
Yeah, we didn't do anything with the charges that's out for public review right now. You're correct.
And just one thing I would like to add, this has not been voted on yet. This is a draft ordinance that has not been adopted. So just for clarification on that, the one that was released is a draft.
Okay. And I just want to add, let's all be respectful. We'll respect each other. We'll respect ourselves. And we'll move on to the next person, which is Stacy Smith. Welcome, Stacy. Please approach the podium and give us your name and address. And
Yes, I'm Stacy Smith, 215 Gilman Street, 331 Gilman. On both those races. Thank you for taking the time to do. I missed the meeting that we had, Mr. Long had, I called, Todd earlier. I have to be at my office with 8 to 5, so that's basically something I did not in the meeting at 3 o'clock, the town service phone for the ordinance to, make, Gilman Street one way. It is a dangerous road. I've lived there for 39 years, and it is a very dangerous road, especially when the train stuff. You know, it's hard to pass on the night, but the road is not to have to apply. It's virtually impossible. I mean, you know, you have to get grass and just that kind of pass. Which I understand making a one way. My concern is making it a one way, like I told Todd earlier today when I had a chat with him. If you come off the West Hill Highway on to, if you make one way come off West Hill Highway to the end of Gilman, you have to turn there, and that's a very dangerous road right there. Come down that, they come flying around the curve off Chattanooga. I mean, you have seconds to react, seconds. Well, we're not talking minutes, seconds. I mean, that's my concern, and my second concern is, I had that driveway when I bought that place off Greenville. That driveway took me like $15,000 in 1980. Make one way in my driveway. And me and my wife, we're getting older and we can't walk it. We just can't do it. I mean, I don't want to impale the town from doing something that they need to do, but they need to take everybody's on that street in consideration to, you know, the safety of a fire truck will never make that turn coming off of that, because y'all, matter of fact, the town of Marion about 5 years ago had a town truck turn over for a soft there, Mr. Overbay's yard, trying to make that turn. And there's no way you can get fire EMS in there. I mean, their truck is way too big. I mean, I go out on crashes all the time, and they have some nice big equipment, and there's just no way. I mean, if you're gonna make it one way, yeah, I agree, making it one way, come off Chatham Hill. That's gonna be less dangerous to the public, and it's gonna be more efficient for the fire department to get in, and like I say, the neighborhood's getting older, everybody in that neighborhood's old now, including myself. Not got no younger throughout the years, I wish I did, but, that is my concern, is the safety factor of coming off Gilman onto Chatham Hill because of that curve there. I mean, I've been about hit there numerous times, like I say, I've lived there for 39 years. And it's too, if you can make it one way, make it coming off of Chatham Hill like I talked to Todd about earlier today. But that's not my choice. I'm just throwing this out there. I mean, you can do your own study, your own survey on this. It's a blind curve there, and you're trying to pull out, it's gonna be catastrophic. That's where I'm standing from this year, point out.
Okay.
Town council, that's where I'm standing from. It's the safety, like I say, I see crashes every day, sir, and I tell you, that I've seen wreck after wreck there.
I'm sure that we'll take your comments into consideration. One thing I will say is that I do not know the results of the committee meeting. Ms. Jennings may.
The people who were there said that they would like it to be one way, the way that we were talking about. The opposite from, I guess, from what you were talking about.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that, but you gotta look at the safety factor too. If it can be improved, it needs to be improved.
And no one brought that up, so
we
wish you could have been there.
I do too, but by law, I have to be in my office from 8 to 5, ma'am, and I can't make it.
Understand.
I try to comply with the law, and that's what I have to do. But, you know, I'm sorry I couldn't be there, like I told Mr. Long earlier today. I like to say, in that blind curve, I don't know if Mr. Clare is aware of that street or not. It's a blind curve there, and I'm sure if you go out through there, you'll see what I'm telling you. If you pull out 10 to 1, one chance out of 5 you're gonna get hit.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
If you come in on Chatham Hill Road, are most of the houses on the right-hand side?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And anyway, if they come in that way, if they park beside the road, which they currently do, ma'am, their driver door is gonna be towards the road instead of the bank. Cause a lot of, like I say, it's an older community. I mean, there's not really no young people live there no more. And it's like my driveway, it shoots up the hill. And my wife, we can't walk up that hill. We just can't do it, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, safety factor, you're gonna have people falling, trying to get out of their cars. If they park that way, if they make the road like they're wanting to do it, they're gonna be trying to get out against the bank, and they're gonna fall when it snows. We're gonna have problems. There's gonna be more people getting hurt.
Could I make a suggestion?
You may, of course. with your-
I suggest we take this back to the committee, I guess, and talk about the safety of this. But no one brought that up the other day, and it wasn't an issue for the people who were there.
Yes, ma'am.
But if it's a safety issue, we'll look at it again.
Well, I mean, if you do your statistics and you have the Marion Town Police or Marion Fire Department, or Mr. Boyhan, or this age, you go out through there and you try to get out, you try to come off Chatham, you come off the Gilman onto Chatham, you'll see exactly what I'm telling you. There's a blind curve right there, right where you pull out.
Well-
Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. We appreciate you very much, and thank you for bringing that to our attention. Does committee want to make a suggestion, or will you wait till your time?
On what we did the other day, you mean?
Well, we'll wait for your report and then see if you want to go back to committee, okay?
Sure.
Is that all right? We'll
Sure.
wait for that?
Oh, sure.
We'll proceed with public comment time right now, if that's okay. And our next person for public comment is Mr. Charles Hayden. And Charles, you are well acquainted with approaching the podium and telling us where you live and who you are.
My name is Charles Hayden, 726 South Church Street. What I want to talk about right now, the main subject is not receiving the notices that I applied for the meetings. I want every one of you, if you would like, to read what that says. It clearly says that I'm supposed to be notified of all meetings, including work sessions. I very seldom get anything, maybe 3 EDA meetings, council meetings, and 2 committee meetings is all I can remember ever receiving in 2 years. This says you're supposed to give me that notice of every meeting. I would love for you to take it serious let the public know when you're having a meeting. It should be on the town's website, it says so, since you have one. Every notice should appear on that website. But I've got pages on pages of saying from the Freedom of Information Act, from the state of Virginia, that is what is supposed to happen, but it is not happening. The too many of us that has applied. Now, getting on with what I gotta say, we talk about the administrative head of government. Now, I understand that our fire chief is to report to a councilman. That is not what the state says. The state says the manager is supposed to receive reports from, give direction to all heads of offices, departments, and boards of the locality under his supervision. So with that being said, Rusty can't do his report to anybody, Billy, or the assistant manager. So I don't understand why you are so bent on keeping the public in the dark about what you're doing. And you can deny it all you want to. Every move you make is aimed at that problem. For instance, your resolution you're fixing to read tonight. You made it very clear to the public that y'all can do no wrong. Us up here talking don't mean nothing. Everybody's doing a good job, everybody's doing perfect. Every ordinance that's been passed recently has been against the public. That's all I gotta say.
Charles, we thank you for your comments, and we will take this into consideration and pass it along to the proper committee. I'm sorry if you're not getting the notification that you're supposed to, but we will put some...
Just to respond, I brought this up at least a half a dozen times in council. Talked to you personally about it, and it's never happened.
I think what we'll have to do is put a person in charge of making sure that everyone on that list is informed of every meeting and make that their responsibility. And I'm not sure how that process works right now. So we'll take that into consideration. Hopefully you'll be getting notices by the dozens very soon. We appreciate your participation. That ends the public comment time for tonight. We have our council members' committee reports. And I would like to go in reverse order tonight. And we will ask Councilman Carter if he has his report.
Don't have any real reports. I'm just going to make a comment. In campaigning door to door, the number one issue that by far that was brought up was the homeless problem. So we need to address that and study that thoroughly and see what can be done about it. A lot of people are concerned about them, and the population itself seems to be growing. Really is. I see them. I'm drive for AutoZone. I see them, same ones pretty much 3 and 4 times a day. So we need to do something. So.
Well, we are engaged in conversations.
Okay. It should be a priority, I think, according to the public. Yeah.
I have reached out to the Red Cross. They cannot do anything, and from my understanding, social services cannot provide any assistance unless it's asked for by the actual people that need the assistance. They can't apply their assistance to people who don't want it. So,
well, they have no permanent residence. They're, by all legal definitions, they're vagrants, which means that they have no residence, no job, no visible source of resources. So the homeless is a misnomer in this situation. So I think we need to look at it at that. Todd can address it at meetings, but we have to go forward on this. That's all.
I have nothing for committee, but to segue on what Mr. Carter is talking about, I did overhear that there will be a social services meeting about the homeless this Thursday, 1 to 3. I have no idea where that meeting is going to take place, but I would think we would need a representative there.
It may be internal.
Okay,
I haven't heard of it either.
okay. That's all I have.
Thank you.
No report from me, but we do have the resolution prepared for affirming the support of town staff, and I would like to go over and read that. So, whereas recent comments during a town council meeting called into question specifically regarding work products of Todd Long and his staff in regards to property maintenance, zoning, planning, and IT services, and whereas the town of Marion employees nearly 100 people, and whereas the system of government for the town of Marion provides direct supervision from our town manager to staff, and whereas the town manager is appointed to serve by town council, and whereas the town council sets policy, provides direction and oversight, and is ultimately responsible for every action by our staff, and whereas the town council recognizes the talent, dedication, dependability, and commitment made by each and every employee to make Marion a better place to live, work, and play, and whereas the staff carries out the direction provided by town council, and this council supports every employee in the professional way each of them executes their respective duties, including Todd Long as he initiates the directives provided toward zoning and property maintenance. Now therefore be it resolved this 5th day of May 2025 that the Town Council of Marion, Virginia hereby officially expresses our most sincere appreciation to every employee of our municipality.
And that's a motion.
Yes.
I'll second that motion.
And that motion has been signed. And do you have that in your possession? Or the resolution, rather?
We have the resolution on our packets.
There's an actual paper
Yes,
copy of
Andy
it?
I have them.
Yes, okay, great. So we have a motion and a second?
Matt, could I say something?
Yes.
The reason this has been put into effect is the way our staff has been treated over the years, especially the past 2 years. And some of council has been treated inappropriately. That's why we have this resolution.
Thank you. That was the second?
Yes.
As well as the statement?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Then we'll vote on the resolution. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. Anything else, Mr. Apple?
No, sir, that's all.
Thank you. Councilmember Jennings.
I passed out our May Lincoln Theater itinerary, and I attended the farmer's market Saturday, the first one, I believe, for the year. There was many people there, lots of vendors there, and very good. I commend the people working on that. As far as the street committee goes, I would like to refer this back to the committee, but I want to get VDOT involved and ask VDOT, can we do, first of all, can we ask VDOT, Todd?
I don't think that road is in the VDOT system. I don't know if Mark's or not, but Mark has said all along that the fee simple street is a town road, so it is not in the VDOT system.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll refer it then back to the committee for us to talk about the safety issue.
Okay?
Okay.
Is that a motion?
Yes, it is.
And
Second.
I have a motion and second. Any discussion?
Could you include the fire department on that?
Sure, absolutely.
And only reason I'm saying that, Richard, is because the way you pull the line off the truck, you don't want to pull it off over that bank, right?
It's on fire over to
Okay.
Yeah, we need all the help with this we can get, so fine. That's great.
I'm sorry,
Thank
who
you.
seconded that?
I did.
So was that motion amended to include the
To
fire
include the
department?
fire, yeah, yes, yes.
Sorry.
So procedurally, do we need to cancel the second, cancel the motion and amend it, or what do we need to do, Cindy?
If Mr. Atwell just wants to make his second with that amendment.
I'll make the second with that amendment.
then you're good.
Thanks, Todd.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all in favor? Unanimous? Do you have anything else?
That's all.
Councilmember Jennings?
Thank
Okay.
you.
Councilmember Spencer.
No report, sir.
Dr. Gates?
Yeah, a couple things. For the development of the recreation park on Callan Drive, I have contacted the Wellspring Foundation, and they're very interested in partnering with us. I think that some of town staff has been contacted by them, and they are looking at working with us with a planning grant, and we're getting them all the information they need to proceed with that. In speaking of the trash pickup of the solid waste, the committee that was tasked to doing that met with Todd, and Todd on numerous occasions. Very little of that was, Todd, can you explain just a little bit what was changed in that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, basically.
And this was a preliminary. It was worked on by the committee. Todd put it in final form. He has sent it out to the council members. There has been no action on it. We determined tonight if we want to send that to a public hearing. At a public hearing, you'll get, once again, your chance as the public to express your concerns about this. So this is not a done deal, and we'll take everybody's concerns into advisement. But Todd, go ahead and go through the process for us on it.
Yeah, so basically what we looked at when we were going through this ordinance was the time of day that the trash was sent out. We were having so many complaints that birds, cats, dogs and stuff were feeding in bagged trash and sitting at the road 3 or 4 days before the trash pickup. The bags getting broken open and the trash being blown and strewn across the neighborhood. So we're basically looking at the time of day to start looking at that. We were looking at, once your trash has been picked up, to remove your cans or whatever you're using to put your trash in off of the curbside to keep the town looking nice. And we also added some language about using like Amazon boxes to put your trash in if you got newspapers or whatever. The only thing we're looking at is we don't want our town staff to spend valuable town time to pick up stuff that it's not their fault because the bag breaks when they put it in the back of the trash truck. If they lift up a box that's been damp or soaked and they pick it up and all the trash falls out, we kind of put that back on the homeowner to be able to gather that up. But as far as the fees and stuff goes, none of that has changed since 2017. That's been the same fees that has been there. We did add the verbiage to instead of placing a lien on the property, we also now have the option to assess it against the water bill.
Has anyone been fined for that since
Not that I know of.
2017?
Not that I know
Right.
of.
And so it's getting to be a worse problem with cans left out, trash being broken into basically by animals. And so we've had a number of complaints about this, that this was happening. So what we've tried to do is firm up an ordinance that we do have something that we can tell the public, take some responsibility for your trash. We're picking it up, keep it in cans, bags, or boxes, and then bring your can out at an appropriate time, take it back in at an appropriate time. There are cameras on the trash trucks. So if you have a problem with something that has been done by the people picking up the refuse, it's recorded. You can come in here and look at it. We can look at it for you. So if you have a problem with it, please contact the town staff. We don't know what's happening unless you contact us.
And Jim, our assistant town manager, he's director of public works too. I'm sure he gets as many complaints or more than we do, so he can vouch to the fact we get complaints all the time on garbage.
And most of the complaints are someone next to someone who has let their garbage blow into their yard or just drift into their yard, the bag's broken open, and it's in someone else's yard. So we're trying to solve that for the public. We don't know how else to do it other than to put a little bit of personal responsibility on people to keep their yards neat and don't let it affect other people.
And Jim, since April of 2017, the first offense is just a letter notifying you, hey, here's the new ordinances, please don't let this happen again.
So, any comment from council about that one? I mean, you've had a chance to look at it. Do you feel comfortable in me making a motion to set the public hearing on this?
Yes.
I do.
I'll make that motion.
Yep.
Sure do.
When I was talking to Todd,
Yep.
what about like churches or that like put their trash out before 6 o'clock?
Todd, can you address that?
Well, I think after our last committee meeting, what we determined was there are just so few churches that would actually do that, Ms. Hayes, that we would still feel like if there was somebody could come by there and maybe just set it at the road at the appropriate time.
And another thing, if we, do it for one church or anybody, we're going to have to do it for everybody that would ask that question, So do you have anybody who could come and put it out at the appropriate time? Yeah. Thank you.
Any questions? Well,
if it's-
after the motion, I'm going to make a motion, we can ask more questions.
Yes.
That we set this for a public hearing.
A second.
Floor is open for discussion.
If you had something else.
I do have one thing that I would like to bring before council is the fact that the cans, on the day of collection, it's stated in the draft that they need to be removed by 6 p.m.
The next day. Yeah, on
The next day?
No, on the day of collection.
On the day of collection.
Yes.
Which is problematic for even myself sometimes to get there, such as a day like today. I would not be able to be there to collect those cans. If someone were working out of town and they had to drive, they may not get back in town till later than that. And I did speak with Mr. Long about this today, but I want to say that laws need to be made so that the citizens can comply with those laws. Because that is the determination of our legal system. Okay, and if we can't comply, if the citizens can't comply, if our laws are too vague or inconcise or cumbersome, and the public cannot reasonably comply with those laws, then that becomes problematic and it causes doubt in the rule of law. And we don't want that. So when we're making rules, let's think about not just what we want the public to comply with, but what is reasonably complied with. And I believe that a 24-hour period between setting them out and bringing them back would be more reasonable than asking that they would be off the street by 6 p.m. when some people won't even be home by that time. So I would like to make that one change in the ordinance, that we might give them leeway to the next morning. If it needs to be out by 7 a.m., let's give them till 7 a.m. the next day to collect those cans. 24 hours is a reasonable amount of time. I would just like for the committee to consider that. Doesn't need to go back to committee. We can vote on that as a change as a council if we wish to, or if it wishes to go back to committee.
If it's an ordinance.
But a lot of people don't use trash cans, they just send them out in their tied garbage bags. And then you've got to look at too, that you've got a tremendous people who work at home. And there's multi-families in the household, surely the wife or the teenage boy or girl can get the
But we're making one law.
Well, I know, but you got to
that
have a
applies
perimeter, Avery.
to everyone.
Yeah.
So
You got that
everyone
time.
needs to be able to
I
comply
know
with the
you
law.
discussed that with me, and I think I told you the same thing. You have to have a time limit. 24 hours, it's a little far-fetched in my book.
Well, even the people who work the second shift, like we
Yeah.
talked about, they are home till 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and the garbage is always picked
It's-
up
yeah, it's
early
gone.
morning, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Before 2 o'clock,
Yeah.
so,
most of it.
We have to get the truck to the landfill before it closes.
uh-huh. So I don't know.
What's the wish? I can rescind my motion and we can talk about it some more, or we can, what's the wish of council?
I just think you have to put a definite time limit. I mean, I see nothing wrong with 6 p.m. myself, personally.
If your motion stands, Dr. Gates, and there's no one wanting to change it, we can vote on your motion if it's seconded.
Well, we
That
can
is
set
not
the
a
public
problem.
hearing. Once the public hearing's set, we can change it at the public
Right,
hearing.
right.
You
This
can
is
do
an
that.
initial
This is true.
draft.
Right.
You need
So
some basis.
We need to set some type of ordinance for a public hearing.
Yeah.
I think that we go ahead and send it out for public hearing and then get the public to actually comment on that as well. And if we have enough consensus, then we can change it.
Right, right.
That's fine. If we have a motion, we'll need a second.
Second.
Pardon?
We already have.
We
Did you
I
already have
did.
the
Yeah,
second?
This is the discussion part.
Oh, yes, right. Okay, so is there further discussion? Then we will vote on setting the public hearing.
Do we have to say the date?
Well,
Billy,
at the
Will
earliest
be at the
possible.
next meeting, May 19th.
we have enough time? Oh, good, good.
That will give me enough time to advertise, will it?
Okay,
Then that'll be June 2nd.
yeah, look at the advertising
Do you have
requirements.
to, Todd, do you have to leave that on for call public view for 30 days?
I gotta leave it on the website for 30 days. I
Okay.
posted it
Okay.
Friday. It's gonna be, we can have it the first, we can have it, on June 2nd.
Okay.
And if we change the ordinance because of public comment or a change of mind, then we'll need to go back into that process again.
No, you won't.
Oh, Mark, you're here.
That's the purpose of the public hearing.
Yeah.
You can change it based upon public comment.
Okay, great. So
And Todd,
motion,
if you said 30 days, it's 30 days, I mean, June the 2nd is not 30 days.
No, I had it on the website for 30 days, and I just looked at the next month, but, hold on a second.
Okay.
You put it on the website, like
If it's
last
been on the
Friday.
website, okay.
So it would be the 16th then, to get the 30 days on the website for public review.
Okay,
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
that's fine. Well, I'm going to amend my motion to set a public hearing on the 16th of June.
And I'll second that.
any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. And do you have anything else, Dr. Gates?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Councilmember Hayes?
Nothing.
You have nothing at this time? Okay. I will go ahead with the mayor's report. And I want to report a few things, a couple of activities. We'll just start with Arbor Day at Marion Middle School, which was a wonderful event. And we planted a tree there, and of course that was April the 22nd, which by proclamation was Arbor Day in Marion, Virginia. And it was also Earth Day, so it was very fitting that we planted a nice dogwood tree at Marion Middle School. Not in order, but I did attend the youth fishing that the EMS and police put on. It was well attended, and it looked like they pulled some big ones out of the water. So I think that's great. I went to the farmer's market that day and bought some wonderful confections and ate them while I was there. And also Leslie's doing a great job there, and the staff there at the farmer's market is doing an excellent job. So it's well attended, and advise everybody to get out there and get what they can while it's there. April the 23rd was Administrative Professionals Day. And I made the mistake of thinking it was Administrative Assistants Day. But it was Administrative Professionals Day, so to all those people I said thank you to, thank you for being administrative professionals. Other than that, we had a very significant meeting, the National Day of Prayer, and that was hosted by the town of Marion and emceed by James Bennington right out here in the front steps, and it was a cool, beautiful, wonderful day, and people joined in prayer, and it was a touching moment. And the other thing that we did yesterday, and Council Member Hayes was there and instrumental, and her sister made a statement that was very moving, touching, and heart-wrenching in some ways. So we did dedicate Sally's crying tree yesterday with a white oak. 9 others were planted around town, which is a total of 10 to commemorate Sally's crying tree and the atrocities of that period of time that will never be lived again in American history. Other than that, I will dispense with any further wild ramblings from the mayor, and we will continue with the attorney's report.
No report.
We'll move on to staff reports. Cindy Stanley.
Yes, we have the budget balance and on your iPads for review, if you all would like to set a public hearing for that. And we could do June 2nd to give us time to advertise this.
June 6th.
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
I'll make a motion, we set the budget to be reviewed by the public on June 2nd.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Of course, the budget is available for the public to view before this time, and it will be posted on the town website. Is that correct?
The synopsis.
The synopsis, okay. The synopsis. Would you explain the synopsis to me?
It's just a breakdown of your revenue and expenses.
Right, the same thing that was published to council will be available to the public. Is that correct?
No, you just advertise the budget synopsis.
Like in the newspaper.
I don't understand, I'm very sorry.
The budget doesn't go into, it'll say police, and it'll say 1.2 million, or chief, what's your budget now, approximately?
I think it's 1.3.
1.3 million. It won't say gas for vehicles, it won't say salaries, it won't say, that's not the budget that gets published. It says police, and then you know how much. Public Works will say X.
It's total by department.
By departments.
Oh, so they can't see individual line item accounts?
No,
You're talking massive sheets.
It is available.
That's how
I
it's
think
always-
it's available at the public hearing for review.
Okay.
That's how it's always been done. I mean,
I've been on council for so long, I always get the whole thing. And I just assumed that the public got the same thing.
In the old packet, you just had the synopsis on the budget thing. It would give each breakdown of each department when we got a packet back years ago. Now, for you to review, as far as a council member, yes, but when we came to the,
I've always reviewed it, and I'm sorry, I only found out about it.
Breakdown in the paper too, every year.
Yeah, I only found out about the budget being pushed out to the iPads today through a chance conversation with Ms. Stanley. I, for some reason, missed or did not get the email myself. So that may be problematic.
Email out one day last week.
You sent the email out? Okay, I was told Todd sent the email out. My search must have been faulty because I was looking for it from Todd.
For sure, I see.
Okay, that's where, but I digress. So, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Well, as usual, thanks the staff who are so important in helping the committee form the budget.
Motion and second. Any more discussion? Then we will vote in favor of setting the public hearing to the 2nd of June. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
All in favor? Unanimous?
That's all, thank you.
Chief Clare.
Yes, sir. As you mentioned, we had a fishing event. For those who don't know, this is where the Department of Wildlife Resources actually specifically stocks a piece of the river for the children to make sure that they get, a good chance at finding something. And I think I heard there were about 50 kids there, and so I think it's an amazing opportunity for not only, fire and police to interact, but just for the kids to have a good time. We've got an academy graduation coming up at the end of the month. Officer Bailey Sheets will graduate from the Bristol Academy. We're at a hiring panel this week to try to select some more candidates, and we're just getting ready for the Memorial Day parade. If there's no questions, that's all I've got.
Council, any questions for Chief Clare?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And I believe that Chief Kiesling is here to represent Fire and EMS.
Thank you, Your Honor. Council, yes, I'm here. Chief Ham's on holiday, so I'm next one up for it. I don't have much, just a couple of things. The new ambulance we got in is doing fine, it's working well, everybody's very pleased with it. The one that replaced has been reapplied to the Public Works. I believe they've got a good use for it, so that's a good use of interdepartment stuff, working back and forth on that. Our newest hire, which was Sam Wadner, I believe I just found out today that he passed his paramedics, so congratulations to him. And the last thing I have is hydrants. We started hydrant testing again, and run into a few challenges, but I want to commend the Public Works for being there real quick to help us out. And if you want to know if SERP's working, the hydrant, just off the top of my head, at Wasona and the credit union flows just over 4,000 gallons a minute. So your money is being well spent, and there's lots of water now. And that's all I have. Some major questions about the events.
I do want to make one comment, and we really do appreciate the fire, EMS, and the police force doing the fire detector, smoke detector blitz on Madison Drive. I enjoyed that as well, although it rained a lot. I don't know how many people were serviced, but as they say, if it saves one life, causes less property damage, well worth it. I hope that you have other events similar to that in the near future.
We've had several throughout the county. We helped some in Atkins before. We've had some at Adwolf. We've done some here, so they're throughout the county, and they do benefit a lot of people.
Really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
Ken Heath is doing wonderfully, and he is recovering well, and he sends his regards, but he sent no emissary. So we will, unless somebody wants to take general operations of economic development, we'll skip that for now and move along to Todd Long.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'd like to thank council for the resolution and support to staff. It's very well appreciated. Most of the things I was going to talk about, we've already talked about. We've already talked about Gilman Street, which is going back to the street committee. I already talked about the trash ordinance a little bit, so that's on there. One thing I want to draw to your attention, Mount Rogers gave you all a email last week saying that you were invited to Quadplex Recovery Housing. Once I got that email, I reached out to the contractor who's actually doing the work up there. So we met on site with him and the executive director of Open Door Communities, and we specifically asked him what was going to be the purpose of these. And they said it was for disabled, they would be getting public transport good. And I said, okay, good. And when I got this, I said, wait a minute, this says recovery housing, which is allowed there, but you have to go through a special use process to do it. And I did talk to Jordan quite extensively over it, and I think it's the next page, really. He sent the letter explaining the use of that. And after he sent that letter, that does comply with current town of Marion zoning on there, so there was no action taken. I did tell him not to do anything else on the property until I brought it before council, but my recommendation would be let him continue as what his letter states.
Complies with all of our ordinances.
Complies with all town of Marion zoning for that district. If you recall, I guess it was early last year that Chris Fox approached council to rezone that from commercial, to R3, which met the multifamily thing. And council granted that rezoning. Also, this type of use is allowed in the R3 zone.
Okay.
Will there be anyone in the facility that, like a staff member?
Not that I'm aware of. I think it's just housing. And if you read that letter, they're saying that they're doing preferential placement to people that you're covering from substance abuse. But there's no medicine, nothing else being distributed on site there, which does make the difference in this situation here. I did talk to Jason, and he did say that, that's who they're catering to. They don't mean who's going to live there. Because I'm sure they're going to rent to whoever applies first.
And so there's no public hearing that needs to be held?
Then there is actually no action to be taken by council on this.
I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
I actually sent the announcement out to council, and I checked with Todd first, and he said, okay, so, but then we read it a little closer, Todd got excited, so we felt like we should clarify it. So that's what he's done.
Well, I mean, I think as far as I'm concerned, that was the first time that the verbiage was used that Mount Rogers used. Because at no time did the contractor or Jason actually say that to me while we were up on site. And that's why I needed clarification before I could let him continue on that project without going through the right processes.
The wording on their announcement was totally different than what was intended to go up there. So.
I'm sorry, I said Jason, it's Jordan. I'm sorry. One more thing I just want to bring to your attention, I'm starting to do, and it actually came up from a complaint that I had from someone, and we went investigated and found a lot of these shops around here that's not really code compliant. I'm just bringing it to your attention that I'm starting to look into that a little bit more often. I actually talked to the owner, who's from Tampa, Florida, today on the telephone concerning, I think he owns 2 of the places. I think we're going to get that worked out, so just giving you a heads up on that in case somebody comes up and says something that you say, yeah, we got staff working on it.
Todd, I've got a question about vaping. Is that, does that have to be the 750 feet rule and all?
So,
is that considered?
In our new zoning, we got a new definition called alternative retail. And that's really the stuff that came out of the adult use zone under the old code. Pornography, anything sexual. We've also added distilleries, or not distilleries, distributors of marijuana, cannabis, THC infused, anything that's got THC into it was now considered alternative retail. If you look through our new zoning, that is still allowed in commercial zones, but it has to be, since it's alternative retail, it has to go in our adult overlay. And in our town code is where it spells it out. For those type of businesses, you can't have 2 of them within 1,000 feet of each other. if you can't be within 750 feet of a school, park, playground, church, riverwalk, anything like that. And, you know, I don't vape, I don't use tobacco, I don't normally go in these places. I did last week, went into 2 of them, and both of them was non-compliant. I informed them of that. And I did talk to the owner of one of them today, the business owner. I have instructed the girls up that does the business license, and we might, at some point, run by council, if we have to. Mark, you can tell me, maybe we need something in writing for them to sign, just because, you know, they can really tell the girls anything. We take their word for it. One of the places that I actually inspected this past week, the property owner was in my office, and I specifically asked him, are they selling any products that contain this? And they said no. They're selling the flavored vapes, you know, chips, candies, so forth and so on. I took his word for it. I went in one of them last week, and I just asked the clerk, are you selling anything like this? And they said yes. I said, you can't do that. And so that's how I got all this started, but I will be fair to all of them. I will visit every one of them and ask them the same question. I don't know enough about it. I'm not going to lie to you, stand up here and say, oh, that one contains it, that one doesn't. Without sitting and reading it, and if it's not on the package or the vape container, I wouldn't know anyway.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit ironic because we had one of the Vaso check-ins that same day that I went up there. And we had 3 members from VDAX, which is Virginia Department of Agriculture. And this was a topic. And it was really interesting how it worked out. But I do know that there's only 2 vape stores in Marion that has registered with them that sells hemp products or anything that contains THC. That is a requirement through the state. I have already reached out to them, and they said that they were aware of 2 more in Marion, but we've actually got 7 that have a business license inside 4.2 square miles.
Doc, you use the word hemp products, and hemp and cannabis are 2 different plants, if I'm not correct.
It is, but they both contain THC, and that's how the ordinance and the definition reads.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes, sir. But if you don't have any more questions, Doc. Yes, ma'am.
You said we have 7?
We've got 7 that's got business license in the town of Marion. I have it on the list in my office, Ms. Hayes, but I don't have it in front of me.
It's a lot, isn't it?
I can tell you about 4 or 5 years ago, I read a study, and I think it was in Memphis, Tennessee. They done a study over 20 years, and they said an influx of vape stores, ABC stores, and cash checking places over a period of 10 years, if you have a lot of them, that area becomes blighted.
Comes what?
Blighted, deteriorated. But, yeah, and I read that probably 4 years ago on some zoning stuff that I was doing. But it was a really interesting article. If I can go back and find it, I'll email it to you guys.
So you use the terminology 7 that have business licenses. Are there some that do not have business licenses?
I know that sometimes we're unaware. And I don't know if they don't know to come and get it. The one that I went to Thursday, they had the open sign, they had their sign up, they had everything there. I went in and asked them for their business license. The lady said she was new. She said the only piece of paper I got, she brought out to me, it was from California. And I said, you can't operate a business in town of Marion without a business license. She was super nice. I also told her she wouldn't be able to sell anything with THC this close to the school and residential areas. She informed me that she pulled all those products off the shelf and moved them to the back. She came in the next morning at about 8:30, I guess it was. She applied for a business license and actually came to my office and got a sign permit for her sign out front. Her boss actually called me a couple times on the phone that afternoon. They're very nice people. Wanted to know if there's anything else they could do. And I said, that's all that we require at this point, and she was fine with it.
So once that business license is granted, that would be a total of 8 stores.
If that business license is granted and it's in commercial general zone, they can sell the flavored vape, nothing with infused or any kind of THC in it. They can sell any accessory they want. They just can't sell the product, and that's retail.
Well, what about the business that's, I guess, backs up to, well, I know it does, backs up to the Catholic Church? How is that?
So from the information I got, and like I said, I don't have the paper in front of me, that business came in about 2022, and that's a guess. It might have been 2018. I seen one of them as 2018. That was done when Bill was the zoning administrator, and before, I think before our new zoning had passed. And Mark, you might can help me on that one. I don't recall when they came into business, but I do know that they recently had a name change, which, you know, I'm going to consult with Mark tomorrow morning to see about if any kind of grandfathering applies there.
And they maybe not sell the product, but they give the product as a gift. Is that right?
From my understanding, Chief Clerk can help me on this one. I think you can gift it. Am I correct?
How is that fair or right or legal?
So what I'll say is it's a complex web of kind of unresolved tension. So the first part is the zoning issue, which Todd is talking about. Then there's also the issue of types of THC. I'm not a chemist, but there are types of THC with different levels of regulation. I would say that broadly, and I think there was an article in the Cardinal News to this effect, that there's a kind of a broad question of, is it a regulatory matter, a criminal matter? I think in some ways clearly criminal, but in other ways perhaps more regulatory. I think that's a result of indecisiveness. And so, but I think there are some bright lines that can be drawn, and I think that's part of what Todd is working on there. And I know that there's other activities looking at other bright lines. But again, complex, kind of long term.
I understand.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you can do or we can do to maybe say 8's enough in Marion if we get any more?
You know, Ms. Jennings, I've had this conversation with several staff members, and I've always been told it's capitalism. You know, I can't say you can't come in here because we've already got 6. Well, they're saying, well, you know, how do you know my floor won't do better than the rest of them? I don't, there again, I think that's probably going to be a council interaction on that. I don't know the answer to that one.
Yeah.
You know, I know that I did phrase the question to VDAX over this, and they informed me, and you know, the terminology kratom, is it Delta?
Yeah, it's like Delta 8, Delta 9.
Yeah, they did tell me that if you've seen Delta, most of those contain 90% THC. Now that came straight from VDAX. I wouldn't know one from the other. And I'm just like Chief Clare, I'm definitely not a chemist. If it's not written on a package,
Yeah,
and going
me
out and
too.
reading the whole wall, I would not know.
Yeah.
Kratom does not have marijuana, other chemicals.
What did you say?
Kratom does not have marijuana.
You just saw one-
Kratom mimics an opioid.
You just saw one piece of paper on the wall?
Pardon?
You just saw one piece of paper on the wall?
No, she brought it out from around back. At this particular store, they didn't have anything in Virginia.
Well, they gotta have Virginia sales tax number. If you need any help enforcement, that's the wing you go to.
Okay.
Because it has to be publicly displayed. And they gotta have one for each location.
I think what he was showing was addressing the issue of how much THC was in the product and where they got it from.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying they got to have all that before they open, really, from the first day. So
Yeah,
that's always the enforcement arm you can use.
I was unsure about the California certificate.
Yeah, California won't work in Virginia.
But it had to do with, was
The,
it .03?
probably,
THC?
the legalistic terms for that, yeah.
So there has to be some entity that does testing, and that's the issue with the Commonwealth.
Yeah. But it'll be like check cashing institutes. The General Assembly had to address that, didn't it? Remember?
They
And,
changed.
We're getting off
They
topic
got
with
rid of
check cashing.
usury laws and you could charge 100%.
Yeah.
But they got rid of those. They
put a limit
came to
on
their
it.
senses.
Yeah, that's right.
Mark, one question I will ask about the percentage of THC that's in the product, which may be referred to the California certificate that the young lady showed him. Would the Dillon rule apply to a percentage of THC which is under the legal limit?
The percentage is specified in the Code of Virginia, I believe, saying that .03. Todd and I looked at it, I don't recall what.
Yeah, I don't recall if it's .3 or .0.
So my question is, can the town of Marion make an ordinance of 0 THC?
Yeah, we've already got it. When we defined all.
But is that a legal ordinance?
It's legal only in that it specifies where it can be sold. We have areas that if they wanted to have a tobacco or a vape store, they could sell the THC infused if it is a certain distance away from.
No, my question is about the percentage.
I don't think we can prevent something that's legal in the Commonwealth.
Okay, that's my question.
We
To
did,
get
we're
the
just,
federal government to come in, it's illegal.
we're just
Still
regulating where it
illegal
can
at
go.
federal level. Okay, well, thank you, Todd.
Let us know how the results of this come out.
I'm sure you'll know. Is there any other questions?
I'm sure we'll.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that was a lively discussion, so, and that's always good to have discourse. The next person is the town manager, Billy Ham.
Okay, no real updates on the projects that we're constantly having on here. I'm gonna skip down to Radio Read project. That's going still very well. They installed 847 meters in April. That gives a total of 2,033 at the end of April. We estimated and purchased 3,500, so we're getting close to the finish line. Hope you've noticed, but some of the streets have been painted, the markings.
Yeah.
I think
Yes, looks
that
good.
really helped and brightened things up a little bit. We're still continuing to paint parking places and side streets, but they got most of the main street painted up and brightened up. It looks pretty good. 16 South, the town crew has finished rehabbing the creek bank from the hurricane. I think it looks very well. We're still waiting on the guardrail company to come in and install the guardrail. We'll have just a little bit of cleanup after that, and then we will have to mill that road, side of the road at least, and repave that section. You all know what a time we've had getting pavers, so we're trying to get that to work out. Pavers did show up today. They've been over Staley Street area paving. Of course, they got rained out after lunch, so, hopefully they'll be back tomorrow. It's scheduled to be back tomorrow. So, other than that, everybody's working, doing what they're supposed to be doing, and trying to get things done. And that's all I have for everything.
I have not been I haven't been on 16,
Okay.
going out towards Hungry Mother, towards the town line, where all the trees came down. What's going on there? I have no idea.
We finished that.
You have finished it?
Replaced the guardrail and got what trees, yeah.
Okay.
Long time ago.
Wonderful. I need to drive out that way then.
16 was more That's more to look at on 16 South. Get a real feel for what we've had to do.
Yeah, it looks so much better. Thank you.
Well, my thanks to you and the town, Public Works and staff and everybody that's making that happen. So we're about to put Helene in our rearview mirror, maybe.
I don't know about that now. I won't go that far.
We can hope.
She'll
Okay.
be homeless for years.
We have scheduled a closed session, an A1 personnel and A3 real estate. And if we have nothing else, we will go into closed session. Councilmember Jennings, will you take us into closed session?
Okay, I make a motion, we go into closed session to discuss 2 issues. Oh, that's all right.
We need to do it again.
Tell us when, give us a thumbs up when it's time.
We give the,
Councilmember Jennings, will you bring us back into open
Yes, I'll be
session?
happy to. I make a motion, we come back into open session and declare we only discuss the two issues, personnel and real estate, and this is allowed under State Code 2.23712.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and second, any discussion? None being heard, all in favor?
no, you have to poll us, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Carter?
Poll.
Carter?
Yes.
May?
Yes.
Atwell?
Yes.
Jennings?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes.
Gates?
Yes.
Hayes? Cornett?
Yes.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second,
Discussion? None being heard?
let's go.
Let's go home.